Oh, hey there, it's Intern John. Obviously, you're on my channel. What is this? This is Intern John's Quarantine. I challenged myself to try to do a new stand up special, I guess, to raise money for coronavirus relief. That's Shui walking in the background. That's what this is. At 72 hours, it's like a third new stuff and some of the best stuff I've done to kind of be a distraction, but also raise money for a great cause, direct relief. If you click the link in the description to the GoFundMe, you can donate. So ideally, if you can donate like $5, that'd be amazing. If you can donate $1, that's great. If you can't donate right now, but want to share the video so more people donate, that'd be awesome. Trying to raise $1,000 for direct relief. They're an amazing charity helping people on the front line of the COVID relief. Hopefully that's a ding for a donation. So click the link in the description, please. And otherwise, enjoy Intern John's Quarantined. Wow, you guys are amazing reception. Thank you so much for being here. This is crazy. I feel like when a podcast starts for the first time and nobody's listening, but now I get to see it. This is great. It's been great being in quarantine. We're raising money today for direct relief. Fantastic charity helping out the relief for COVID. So make sure you click the donate button. If I seem a little bit nervous, usually when I do a show in a room with a camera and it's just me, it's a different kind of solo show. This one's for charity, so that's at least good. But the last couple of days, it's been weird. It's been weird seeing millennials go to the grocery store, something I feel like we're not trained to do, and seeing people, it's like the first time in sex ed, like they're holding a cucumber, like, I don't know where this goes, but we're going to find out. I think paranoia the last week or two has been at an all-time high. I went to the doctors for a physical, and they did the check, and my doctor's like, turn your head and cough. I'm like, no, not today. Not today, I won't. And then, of course, I go home, I had a tickle, and I cough, and my Alexa goes, get him. I'm like, wait, I thought you weren't listening. It's been great, though, seeing people come together. It really has. Neighbors helping each other out. My neighbor has a family, and I guess they ran out of toilet paper, and he asked me, like, do you have any toilet paper we can borrow? And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's fine. Like, it's me and my dog, sure. So, like a good neighbor, I went over there, and I wiped for him because I wanted to make sure he's not hoarding my stuff. I'm on to you. And by the way, I got it pretty clean. I'm not going to lie. It was a spot clean. But I've had to make sacrifices. We all have. I used to masturbate in the paper towels, and you just can't do that anymore, right? You don't know. So now I masturbate in the Ziploc bags and just put them in the freezer. That way, if we need to repopulate everything, you got me. You know what I mean? I could sell that somewhere, probably. I get a little bit like negative though, because businesses have checked up on me more than my parents have. You know what I mean? Like the one place I went to in 8th grade, it's like, hey John, we want to make sure you're okay. I'm like, I don't even know when I was there last. But the one thing I think I've realized the last couple of weeks is I really think this is what happens when God downloads LimeWire on his computer. Like this is the equivalent right now. The porn industry shut down. I don't know if you know this. The porn industry had to shut down because of this. Never trust a guy who knows when the porn industry shut down, by the way. Just don't. Also, I'm not even too sure why they keep making new porns. It seems like it's a waste of money. Like, nobody's been waiting, like, wondering what they should make a sequel of this one. Like, there's not new techniques. Redo the old ones. But they're like, well, you know what? We're going to be Fast and Furious in this. We're going to do a little drift on the next one. That'll be great. But I do think the one thing I've realized is that it's funny to me that where we listen to our information from, like who we choose to believe, like 100% of doctors could be like, don't go outside, social distance. And we'll be like, okay, what do they know? But this video has an 87% rating on Pornhub. We're like, well, I probably should try it out. It's like your doctor says, wash your hands. Like, but Pornhub says, listen, if you eat a cucumber a day, you're good to go. It's like, I'm going to start double fisting those things. Can't be too cautious. The one thing that's annoyed me, though, the past week is, like, I'll still send friends memes, and, like, I'll get the response back from the DMs, like, sorry, I don't follow that account. I'm like, this is not the time to not be following an account. Like, what else do you have to do? We're all at home for 24 hours. Click follow. Enjoy the fire. All these Tiger King memes are amazing. The worst part about quarantine is my mom knows I have no excuse to not answer her FaceTime calls. None. Like, she knows 100% I'm at home, I can answer. And my mom, I think, has always thought I had a bit of a problem with masturbating. So she'll call me just to know that she's going to be a block. Like, she'll FaceTime me and be like, just checking, and then hang up. I'm trying to learn how to adapt. I think the reason that I've been paranoid about this whole thing is because I remember during Y2K, my parents did nothing to prepare. My parents did nothing for Y2K. I remember being like 9 and being like, shouldn't you guys have something ready? Like, shouldn't we be preparing for this? And my dad was like, no. I remember, like, New Year's Eve, I'm like, shouldn't we? They're saying the world's going to end here. Shouldn't we be ready? My dad finally is like, okay, fine. Fine, you're right, John. You win. So he filled up the bathtub with water because that's what we were going to survive on if Y2K happened. But the problem is my mom thought my dad was being romantic, and so she took a bath. And 9 months later, my brother was born. So I've been trying to prepare a little bit more than that. I do feel bad for parents doing the at-home learning. I can't imagine how miserable that is, especially if it's a music class. If they're doing at-home learning for music class, that would be the worst kind of torture ever, especially if it's the recorder. The recorder is that one instrument that's like kind of like an instrument, kind of not. I remember in 4th grade we did a Christmas play, and I remember my parents had to go. They had to take time off of work to go to the Christmas play. And they had to have known going in, like, this is going to be the worst music of all time. Like, I'm missing work to go listen to a train crash. In 4th grade, we're playing the recorder. So my parents get to the church for the little recital. We're wearing, like, these fake halo things or, like, toilet paper covers. Just wearing those. It's really good. And my parents sit through the 1st graders, 2nd graders, 3rd graders, and then my class comes, 4th graders. And we're about to rock out on the recorder. But something happens. My parents see all the other kids on stage, right? And they see their son, John. And I'm not playing a recorder. I'm playing a pencil. My teacher thought I was so bad at the recorder that she made me play the pencil instead. Can you imagine? You get to this Christmas play. You see all these cute little kids playing the recorder, and your dumbass son's playing a pencil. And I felt bad. I really did. Like, that's when I realized that adults can be mean. Because afterwards, like, this one parent was like, John, you keep practicing. Next year, they might give you a marker. You like that one? Yeah. This is very awkward for me right now. But it's a lot like sex. I can't tell if you're enjoying yourself, but at the end, I'm going to ask for a donation. We're raising money for Direct Relief. Click the link here and watch it. Don't judge me, okay? I'm trying to do my part. My parents had it rough, though, as far as me in school. This may be hard to believe. I wasn't the easiest kid. I remember in 1st grade, like, I brought a whoopee cushion to school the very first day of 1st grade. Like, the first day. I was caught dancing on desks in 1st grade. I once faked a heart attack to get out of a test. Can you imagine that? Faking a heart attack at 6 years old to get out of a test? What could that test possibly have been on? Like, John, don't pee yourself. Oh, God. Oh. But here's the thing about my 1st grade teacher. I had Sister Rita. She's a nun. She would write letters every single week of, like, progress reports of how you were doing. And this one week, I thought I was doing pretty well. Didn't fake a death. Didn't dance on desks. Didn't bring a whoopee cushion. And remember, Sister was like, John, please make sure you bring this note home to your mom right away. So I was very excited. I knew I'd had a great week. I'm like, my parents are going to love this. My mom still has a note framed to this day. She does. And the note said, it was written in cursive because Sister Rita knew I could barely read English, let alone cursive, so she wrote it in code. And it was like, Dear John and Peggy. I'm like, so far, so good. It was not a good week for John Jr. Oof. John has a comment for everything I say. He's always disrupting others. Blessings, Sister Rita. It seemed like an odd thing to say all these horrible things and then blessings. But I realized what she was doing was laying out my sins and then saying they had blessings to kick my ass. And that's exactly what happened. But now, I can look back and I can laugh because I now get paid for those things and she's dead. I don't know if she is for real. She was 500 back then, so it's safe to assume. My mom is Irish, and she is very passive-aggressive Irish, like all Irish people are. I can say that. I'm Irish. When I first started in D.C., I didn't think of the fact my mom could listen to the show on iHeartRadio, on the app. It didn't cross my mind. So I had talked about on the show how allegedly, when I was a teenager, I hooked up in the back of my mom's van. Allegedly. This guy knows what I'm talking about. Right here, right? Here's the thing, though. By the time it was on the air, it was 10 years had passed, right? My mom no longer drew the van. The van didn't work anymore. So I'm like, this isn't a big deal. I come home from Thanksgiving. My mom has the van right in the driveway. The van had not moved from the side street in 3 years, right in the driveway. But here's the thing about my mom. When I do something wrong, she doesn't tell me. She just wants me to know that she knows that I did something wrong. That's her punishment. So, get home, Thanksgiving, I see the van there. I'm like, oh boy. My mom gives me a big hug. Great to see you. Great to see you. But I know there's more. I know there's more coming. I get to my room, and she had taken out the back seat of the van and put it right in my bedroom. And she walks in, everything fine here? Everything fine? I'm like, yeah. Everything's great, Mom. Nothing to see here. She goes, I know that you like the furniture, so I think it should be fine, right? You can probably sleep on that if you want to. It was the weirdest thing. The car doesn't drive. But every time I would come home for holidays, the car would be in our driveway. Then maybe 3 years later, I surprised my mom. Came back one weekend for her birthday, and the van wasn't there. And I said to my dad, Dad, did she finally get rid of the van? And he goes, no. Your mom keeps the van in storage and only brings it out when she knows you're coming home. That is the passive-aggressive I grew up with. And that's part of the reason, too, why I don't want my mom to die. I don't. Because I know she speaks her mind all the time as a human. If she's an angel and has unlimited powers, she'll not be able to keep her opinions to herself. You know what I'm saying? I'll be getting dressed, and she'll fog the mirror and be like, really? That's what you're wearing? It's a weird thing going home, too. I feel like when most kids move out, their parents keep the room how it was when they were living there. I moved out when I was 17. My parents have kept my room how it was when I was 12. They hung up old baseball posters, old movie posters. They have old trophies, old class photos. It's a very odd feeling. You walk into my room and you see these things. You see these trophies. You see these photos, right? And you notice the photos stop around 8th grade. And you're like, wow, this kid is really, really adorable. This kid's amazing. Then you see it's the year is 2003. You go, oh no, this kid's dead. It's a constant reminder that the child my parents wanted me to be didn't make it a long time ago. My dad, on the other hand, he's a little bit different. My dad is a very distinguished guy. He's John Sr., I'm John Jr. People try to make the connection all the time, and it doesn't make sense, okay? My dad served in Vietnam, started his own business, college professor, and then there's me. If anything, if he's Lucky Charms, I'm Marshmallow Odie's, the knockoff brand. Like, yeah, we kind of look alike, right? Same basic ingredients. If you ask people in our lives, I'm sure we taste somewhat the same. But there's a big difference in like overall quality of what you're getting. You may get more of me. He is far superior. So my dad served in Vietnam. Thank you. Yes. Any veterans here? Thank you. Appreciate that. And my dad used Vietnam as an excuse to get out of everything when we were growing up. I remember my brother and I'd be like, "Hey, Dad, can we go camping?" He'd be like, "No." Did a lot of camping in Vietnam. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Sure. Sure. My dad, can we go hiking?" He's like, "No." Did a lot of hiking in Vietnam. I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Dad, can we go water skiing?" Did a lot of water skiing in Vietnam. I'm like, "Okay." It's getting a little bit weird. My dad, can we go ice fishing? No. A lot of ice fishing in Vietnam. I remember when I was home recently, I was like, "Dad, can we want to go to the mall?" He goes, "No." Did a lot of mall going in Vietnam. I'm like, "Dad, did you go to Vietnam to fight a war? Or is there a sandals there that I don't know about?" Because Vietnam sounds amazing. They have everything you need. It's like, "Dad, can we go to Vietnam?" No. Did a lot of going to Vietnam. We were in Vietnam. Thank you. My dad's a brilliant guy, but I think like a lot of dads, he has like this internal clock where he's like, "I need to say something like proficient in like something really smart to my kids. Like I have to give advice." But my dad will give advice in situations where it's not needed. You know what I mean? Like we'll be in the car and he goes, "Okay, time to drop some knowledge on John." He'll be like, we'll be at a red light and I'll be like, "You want to know what, John? Life is like a red light. Sometimes it changes." What? Or I'll be home and be like, "Dad, what's the Wi-Fi?" I'll be like, "Oh, I got him. You know, son, life is like Wi-Fi. Sometimes it connects." I think what my dad did was he went to the fortune cookie factory and took the rejects. Like, "You want to know what? John's going to love this. He will absolutely love this. Save that for later." Anybody have dads like that? Yeah, it's great. It's really great. I'm at the age now, and my dad's at the age where I wear a seatbelt every time when he drives. My dad is a handicap sticker, and he has the urge, like we'll go to Target, he'll park in the handicap spot. He wants to make sure everybody knows he needs a sticker. Like he'll park sideways in the spot. My dad, like, who are you trying to prove? Like, I believe you. You can park straight. But the reason I wear a seatbelt is because my dad drives like he's playing Grand Theft Auto with unlimited lives. Like, why look to the side when you can just live, baby? Anytime he drives, seatbelt. I'm a little bit iffy, though, on seatbelts in an airplane. I am. I don't necessarily see the point of a seatbelt in the airplane. When's the last time your plane got into a fender bender? When's the last time your plane backed into another plane? Do you know what I mean? I know we haven't been on planes in a while, but you remember what it's like. Or like when the fasten seatbelt light comes on, which basically says, "I'm not qualified to walk anymore." If I can walk home drunk from my 21st birthday and walk around my house in quarantine drunk tonight, I can sure as hell walk on an airplane. I have a weird thing with planes, though. Do you guys remember what the emergency exit row is? Yeah? It's the row that has all the extra room. I remember one time I was getting on the plane, and I was walking to my seat in the back, and I walked past the emergency exit row, and there was a guy, big muscle guy, closest window door, emergency exit row. And I thought to myself, if this plane goes down, can this guy fit through the window? Big guy. And if he can't fit, will he move out of the way so we can save ourselves? Now I don't take a risk. I don't. I always book that seat, exit row, closest to the window. If we're all ever on a flight together, okay, here's why. I make myself look as big as possible, too. So when the plane loads on, I make myself look really big, right? And I try to make eye contact, people coming down, because I want to find the guy who thinks like I do. The guy who looks at me and goes, "Can John fit through the window?" if the plane goes down? And I look back at them, I go, we'll see. Because I can promise you one thing. If I'm in that seat, plane goes down, and I can't fit, I'm not getting out of the way. You're all going to die. I know, guys. I know it's harsh. I understand that. I get it. Don't be upset. Here's the reason, though. Let's just say we're all on a plane sometime, maybe this year, maybe next year. We'll see. It goes down. I can't fit through the window, and I move out of the way. When the news comes to ask you guys what happened, none of you are going to be like, you know what? Intern John was a real hero. He moved out of the way so we all could save ourselves. You guys are going to be like, his fat ass couldn't fit, so we left him. That's why. How you guys doing? Doing good? It's been a hard time for influencers right now. Breaks my heart. All those influencers trying to sell things. Influencers are funny. I think some of them have the logic of like, listen, I have 100 followers. Jesus started with 12. I'm going to make this thing big. Here's my problem with influencers. They will try to sell you on stuff you don't need and they know is dangerous for you. Like, they're like, hey, guys, some of you have been asking me about my recent cruise on the Titanic. Let me tell you, it was amazing. It was the fresh water. I could touch the icebergs. The band played all night. And at the end of it, got a really cool ice bath. Use my code SYNC to get 20% off. Or they'll be like, hey guys, so somebody have been asking me about my skin recently. What I did was took a trip to this little spa in Chernobyl, and let me tell you guys, it is beautiful. There's nobody there at all. It's very desolate, plenty of great photos, and my skin has never looked so good. Use my code RADIATE, and you get 20% off right now. It's amazing. Anybody here like smoking cigars? Yeah, a couple. I like smoking cigars because it reminds me of my grandpa. He didn't smoke, but you know, ashes. Ooh, a little feedback. Dating's been weird the last week or so because now you can FaceTime people. That's exciting. I already get inconvenienced when I get a message on anything. It's like a FaceTime. Gotta put my face on real quick. Dating for me is cool because I like seeing people my age with real jobs, like seeing like teachers, doctors. But then like, there's people that I'm like, you're not that impressive. Like I met this one girl we matched with, and she's like, hey, I just passed the bar exam. And I was like, big deal. Like I can make a cocktail. You're not special. It's a lawyer joke. You get it. The last week, though, I've been playing like my apps like Tinder and Bumble and stuff. I treat it like I'm picking my family for the Oregon Trail, okay? If you're a doctor or a nurse, I don't care if you have a horn. Swipe to the right. I can't take care of myself. I'm going to need you to do that for me. It's the weird thing about Tinder and Bumble. Like, you swipe right if you like them, swipe left if you don't. And sometimes you make a mistake and you'll swipe right on somebody that you did not mean to. Like they're busted. And you're like, oh, damn it. This is bad. But then you think to yourself, you're like, no, this is good. This is really good because that person, that busted person, they're going to swipe right on me. And when we match, it's going to make them feel really good about themselves. Like I'm doing a really good deed right now. The world needs this kind of stuff. This is how I'm going to help. But then days go by, weeks, and you realize you haven't matched because they did not swipe right. I will track you down even today. I will go outside today and break quarantine and track you down because I was doing you a favor. You need that favor. You get it. I did meet this one girl off Tinder like a year ago, and she came over. And let me preface this by saying she was really hot, okay? That explains some of the decisions that were made, okay? We went to dinner first, and there was a couple red flags I just missed because I like capturing flags. My favorite game as a kid. For one thing, she knew everything about me. which is not that unnormal, but like she would bring up memories from my past as if she was there. She's like, remember on your 21st birthday, you got really drunk and Eric had to carry you home? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, that was hilarious. I can't believe you did that. I'm like, okay. She's like, remember that time that Chewy got last place in the Chihuahua races 4 years in a row? I'm like, yes, I remember when my dog got last place 4 years in a row. She goes, he was so cute though. That was hilarious. And then she's like, remember I murdered you tonight? I'm like, what? And she goes, don't worry about it. The next crazy thing she did was she had showed me photos on her Instagram, like she had hidden, where she had photoshopped herself into my photos. Like there's a photo of me and Ariana Grande. She had photoshopped her face over Ariana Grande. But she was really hot. I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys. Okay? There's a lot more danger now than there was with this. Okay? So we go back to my place. And like anytime somebody comes to my place, it's one thing, they want to see Chewy. So she's playing with Chewy. And she's like, they're petting each other. Or she's petting him. He could pet back. He chose not to. And she goes, oh my gosh, my boyfriend is going to be so pissed. Yeah, right? And I was like, really? And she goes, oh, don't worry. I can sleep with whomever I want. I just can't pet somebody else's dog. Because she said whom, like properly, I was like, you want to know what? I'll give her a shot. Don't judge me. I see your eyes. So we go upstairs in my room, and I could tell this girl's a freak. Because the first thing she does is pull out her camera for video. And usually I try to have sex with Boomerang, because then you can't really tell like how long or how good it goes. But she was like extra. She goes, listen. She pulled out Snapchat, and she goes, I want you to bang me doggy style with the doggy filter on. And I'm a gentleman, so if you're not laughing at home right now, because we're all laughing here, remember, this is for charity. We're helping out Direct Relief. Click the link, support them. They're an amazing group. It's been a while since I've been like dating somebody, but there's things I remember about dating. There's a couple of things I don't miss about dating. I don't miss as a dude when you're dating, before your girl makes a bad decision, she wants to drag you into it so you're just as guilty. Okay, ladies, I'm on to you. Since the beginning of time, you've dragged your men in bad decisions. Okay, it's like if you go to like the mall and you see a Cinnabon and you ask your man, like, do you want a Cinnabon? You don't care if he wants Cinnabon. You want Cinnabon. And you want to blame him for it later when you hate yourself. I get it. Okay? This has been going on from the beginning. Adam and Eve. Bonnie and Clyde. Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears. You know that denim jacket was not his idea. Thanks, dog. Hey, give me some. Yeah. Cool. That's the best dap I've ever done as a white guy. But I do enjoy, the coolest thing about dating somebody is when their friends date morons. There's nothing better than that, when your girlfriend has friends who date morons. Because, like my ex-girlfriend, right? Her friend was dating this guy named Chris. Chris was an okay guy. He was a god-awful boyfriend. Chris never paid. Chris forgot birthdays. Chris cheated. Chris was the worst. I love the guy. Because I knew anytime my ex-girlfriend's friends got together, I would never be the one they pooped on. It'd be Chris. It'd be like owning a tiger in a tiger zoo in Florida right now. I know I'm not the best, but I'm not Carol. You crazy cats and kittens. I took a trip last year to Punta Cana, a little vacation, because I decided I needed to. And it was the oddest trip of my life. This is Dominican Republic, right before things got crazy there. I should have known things were going bad. Like I check in, we had to fly to Dominican and then fly another airplane, right? So I take the flight over, get to the airport, check in for the next flight. Guy behind the counter doesn't even have a computer or a list of people on the flight. I say, hey, I'm on this flight to Punta Cana. And he goes, great, and then checks off a sheet of paper with nothing on it. Blank sheet of paper. Maybe it was invisible ink. I don't know. He then proceeds to take my bag and carry it to the airplane as we're walking on the tarmac. He then loads the bag. Okay. We get on the plane. It's like a 2-seater on each side. And then he gives us the safety instructions. And he says, okay, I go fly plane now. So that was really good. It's like Jurassic Park. So we land, we get to the resort, and this is where I realized I made some mistakes. Okay. Apparently, this chain of hotels, there's different hotels. Like there's the singles hotel for like young people. There's like the married couple hotel for like, 30-something-year-olds. Then there's like the seniors hotel, okay, where like instead of sandals, they give you like the orthopedic shoes. I somehow had booked a trip to the seniors couple hotel. I did not realize it until I got to the front desk. They offered shots of Miralax and other stool boosting samples, and they had 2 glasses of champagne. And they asked me like, where's Mrs. IJ? And I realized like, oh, this is a couples resort, and I didn't want to admit that I booked a couples resort on accident. So I had just gone along with it. I'm like, oh, she's out looking at the garden. And they were like, okay, well, we'll bring you to your room. And they gave me like this little like bellhop guy. His name was Eduardo. And he was telling me about the resort and asking me like, if you guys want, there's water polo. And sometimes they like to play bingo. And he talked about the old people as theys, like they're their own species. Like sometimes they go to bed early and the younger ones come out. And he goes, boss, I don't know if what you guys are doing, but if you need condoms, let me know. And I'm like, can't let this guy think that I'm a loser double, right? I booked the honeymoon hotel for old people, and I'm there by myself. So I was like, yes, please. Need a bunch of condoms, yes. And he goes, okay, cool. Just make sure you don't flush them, throw them away, whatever. We get to my room, and it is like the honeymoon suite, okay? There's a bed with a giant heart and flowers. There's an upstairs that has like a jacuzzi, and it has one of those old people chairs where you sit and you ride it up. So that was very exciting. The whole time I'm here, myself at the old person place, my mom is watching my Instagram stories, okay? She knows exactly what's going on. First couple of days there, it's like breakfast is at like 4 in the morning, cereal, lunch is at like 10 a.m., dinner's at 3, and then there was always like, they play cribbage or cards. So I'm there for like 4 days, updating my status. Finally, Eduardo comes and goes, hey, man, like I haven't seen the missus, but here's some more condoms. I'm like, hey, thanks. He goes, you got a package from America. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, this usually doesn't happen. I hope you don't mind. I set it up for you in your room. I'm like, okay, sure. So I go back to my room. My mom has sent me a package. And I'm like, this isn't going to be good. I open it up, and it is a toy replica of her van that I allegedly had sex in. And the card said, you're a loser. So that was great. Your mom did the same thing? Yeah, it's weird. How many of you have seen me do stand-up before? Okay. How many of you haven't seen me do stand-up before? About 50-50? Okay. If you haven't seen me do stand-up, you means you hate charity, because it's always for charity. If you have, think of this like a relationship with somebody you've dated before, but you're going to try to rekindle things. Like you think in the beginning they've changed. Halfway through, it's the same shit. Okay, that's what this is. So I started doing stand-up like 4 years ago. I had a friend serving in the Army. She was diagnosed with cancer. I flew down to see her and was introduced to the Fisher House Foundation, who I usually do charity for. We're doing direct relief today. And I knew I wanted to do something to help raise money for this group. So at the time, through radio friends, I'd become friends with Pete Davidson from SNL. I saw Pete do a show, and we're talking after the show. I'm like, hey, man, do you think I could do stand-up comedy? And he paused for a moment and goes, you're a really good guy. And that was it. So I go to the radio station. I'm like, hey, guys, can I do stand-up? And they're like, absolutely not. No, can't do it. So I begged, and finally like, okay, we'll let him do stand-up. Okay? So I got the okay. I made the date for the first stand-up show, like, really far in the future as the AC turns on. Like, like when you and your friends make plans and you make it for a date so far in advance, like for a date that's not even real. You're like, yes, we're going to hang out October 38th. Like, it's so far in advance, even if that date comes, by the time it does, everybody will have canceled. Yeah, exactly. That's what we did for the tour. I'm like, okay, first show, October 38th, it's going to be great. The show comes, October 38th came around, in the first show. So I had other comedians with me, Dia Med, Kyle Cromer, who were usually on tour with me. The first time I met them was the very first show. And I remember Dia asked me, like, hey, man, so where have you been working out your material? Like, you're going to do an hour. Where have you been working out your material? I'm like, I haven't. I'm just going to go and do it and see how it goes. And the look he gave me was almost like, imagine if you went to Cirque du Soleil, right? And you went to, like, the trapeze artist, like, hey, guys, I've been in the circus. I'm going to try this out today. And they're like, well, you know what? We probably shouldn't let him do this, but we're going to watch because it's going to be great either way. So I remember doing the first show. I remember thinking, like, man, this show fails. We have 2 shows tonight. First show goes really well. Really well. I'm feeling confident. Second show comes around. I'm getting on stage. Kyle's getting off stage. I'm like, hey, man, like, how's the crowd? And he goes, good luck. Slaps me in the back of the shoulder. I'm like, okay. That can't be good. I get on stage, and the audience looks pissed. Like, just pissed. Kind of like you guys do now. What I realized was the venue stopped serving alcohol after the first show. A lot of drinkers here, right? So these people were like, they were seeing me do comedy for the first time sober. It wasn't good. And it's a very small venue, kind of like this, like where you guys are right now. Like, they were very close. There's this guy in the front row who I think he was there on a date and didn't really care for me whatsoever. I don't blame him. But he starts texting during the show. And you know how usually when you text, like, you put the phone in by your side, but trying to be secretive? Like, no, he was texting like this. Like, he wanted me to know he was texting. And, like, at movie theaters, when you text, like, you turn down the brightness because you don't want to be rude. This guy had the brightness up all the way. Like, he was calling Batman. Like, he wanted me to see what he was sending. And he sent this text, and they said, this guy really sucks. He pushed send, didn't even lock the screen. Left the screen unlocked. So there's a lantern on the front seat. And, like, maybe 10 seconds later, the woman next to him picks up her phone, checks, and goes, I'm sorry. So that was really good. We took the show on the road, which was great. Went to Harrisburg, went to Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville is one of my favorite cities. It's cool because after the comedy shows, we always do meet and greets. And on the last tour, I met this couple after the show, and they were wearing a T-shirt from the very first tour. It was very cool to see. And they had told me that they were just new parents. They recently had a baby, and this is their first night out. And the husband goes, I have a funny thing you could probably talk about on stage. And I was like, okay, cool. He goes, you actually had sex with my wife before I met her. Yeah. And then he goes, but don't worry, she said you were terrible. Yeah, and she looks at me and goes, it was true. We then take the photo, like we take our photo, and he goes, all right, well, I have to go take care of the kid. I'll let you 2 catch up. And now he's taking care of 2 kids. Don't give me that look. We took the show to St. Pete. It was very exciting. Usually for the shows, like, I like to get to the venue early to see it. So I get to this venue in St. Pete, Florida, and the manager's giving me a tour. And she informs me that in the 70s, this venue we're at was an old porno theater where people would come. Yeah. And they would go to watch porn and do other things. And she goes, but don't worry. You look worried, don't worry. We took all the couches out. Because I was concerned that 30-year-old porno theater couches that could probably clone an army was. But she's like, But we did leave in the concession stand. I'm like, what were you selling here at the porno theater? It was very odd. So I come back later that night for sound check, and she's like, yeah, make sure you get ready for sound check. We come to the venue, the door is being held open by like a sheet of cardboard. So I walk in, there's this guy with jorts, Crocs, and a tank top, and we have a projector for video stuff. He's installing the projector to use that night. Okay, that was sign number one. And not only that, he was using the instructions to install a projector, which was like if you got an airplane and the pilot's like, I'm not really too sure how this one works, and they're checking the instructions, like, most planes probably fly the same. And so usually we test things out like by putting our video on the board, right? This guy was testing out stuff on his iPad. The first video he has on the screen, we walk in, is him playing with a cat. And it's like, I don't know if it's his cat, it's a cat in the street somewhere, and they're playing with yarn like this. The second video he puts on is of the most hardcore pornography I've seen in my entire life. Like, it's bad. And he goes, oh my God, how'd that get on here? And I'm like, dude, nobody hacked your iPad and put porn on it. Like, who downloads porn anyway? And he tries to clear the subject. And he's like, okay, but did you guys know in the 70s, this was a porno theater? And we're like, yeah, we've heard stories. He goes, okay. Well, people would come here and they would watch porn. I'm like, yeah, dude, we get it. He goes, okay. I bet you didn't know in the years when it wasn't a porno theater, before the theater started for shows, the homeless came in. And they started doing a bunch of really weird stuff. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, how would you know this unless you're homeless? There's no homeless message board that I'm aware of, or homeless group text. So then get ready for the show. The manager comes back, goes, hey, did you guys sound check with Ashley? I'm like, no, we sound checked with some dude named Hummingbird. And she goes, damn it, not again. Then we did the Warner Theater in D.C. That was fun. It was a really fun show. It's an iconic venue in D.C. And I remember the first time I played it, because I played it twice. You've been in the shows? It's amazing. It's very emotional. I just gone through a breakup. And it's the first time my parents are there. And they're in the front row, and I break down on stage, and I start crying. And it was embarrassing. I cried in front of 2,000 people. But even though, like, now I look back and cry, like, I look back now, and, like, it makes me happy because it was the only time my dad laughed the entire show. You guys having fun? Could be worse. I do have a PSA for parents. I know I'm not one. Can you please stop posting your baby's length when they're born? I'm not good with length. Like, there's only one thing I've really measured my entire life consistently. I don't want to know how big your baby is in relation to my penis. Like, oh, he's 12 inches. Wow. He's 4 times bigger than me. I mentioned we're doing this for Direct Relief today. They are an amazing, amazing charity. They help out on the front line of everything. So if you get a chance to donate, if you're watching this on YouTube, the donate button should be like up here somewhere. YouTube pays for all the transaction fees too, which is great. So if you can do that, or even just share it so that people can see it, that'd be amazing. Helping out Direct Relief. It is awkward doing this with nobody here. It's a little bit weird. It's like when influencers like, oh, so many guys have been asking me so many questions. Like, these are the questions they're getting. I mentioned I went through a bad breakup. And it was bad because of how it happened. Like, our anniversary and my birthday were the same week in August. And it should have been a great time. Right? Vegas, pool parties, stripper shows. Only I wasn't in Vegas. She was for a girls' trip, which was fine. I'm all about girls' trips. But things started to get a little bit weird when her and one of the dancers started following each other. I'm like, this is odd. Why are we doing this? Like, don't get me wrong, guys. And don't. She went to the Thunder from Down Under. And I don't understand that. I don't get that at all. If you want to see a man take his clothes off, pay anybody here and they'll do it. But she went to the Thunder from Down Under with her friends, and her and one of the dancers started following each other. And don't get me wrong, guys, I'm all about the arts, okay? But this is hardly the Russian ballet. You know what I mean? So I got a little bit suspicious, or maybe it's a little bit like insecure, and I was like, you want to know what? I'm going to confront this guy. I'm going to do it. So I do research, find his phone number, I write down what I'm going to say, and I get a hold of him. He answers his phone. I'm like, hey, man, you don't know me, but I have a bouquet of a dozen red roses. Who do you want to send them to? Guys, thank you. You're too much. You guys are really too much. Thank you for watching and coming tonight to my quarantine session. Again, helping out Direct Relief. Click the link up here. What's next?